It's December the 13th, 2024. The title of the stream is Who Will Advocate for the Growing Mulatto Class? We can say class or demographic, however you like it. But who's going to advocate for the growing mulatto class? Now, I want to share a couple things today, or this evening, I should say. And let me start with this. I shared something on my other channel, the community wall. And I want to talk about it right here. You guys can see this. It says here, well, for me, the description I put was wingnats, which is, white nationalist, incels in particularly. Currently, they dominate X, which was formerly known as Twitter. Okay, at the moment. And that's because, since Elon Musk bought the whole platform. Since Elon Musk purchased, and obviously Elon Musk is like the richest man in the world. He was, instrumental in selecting or appointing Donald Trump to the office, to the Oval Office. Okay. And he basically has X now. So it's kind of a cesspool haven for a lot of the wingnat incels over there to spread their propaganda. Primarily, their propaganda is positioned, well, they scapegoat and blame the Jews for everything. That's a convenient scapegoat, okay, for them. And, but ultimately, they position their whole argument as looking at you, specifically the mulatto male, as being a threat to their existence. Now, these are serious implications, but we have to analyze what we see and interpret it effectively. This is what it is. I can provide you guys with all the evidence, receipts, and all this material. You guys make your decision. Okay, and I put here they are seething at the reality that their own precious Aryan queens are openly committing mutiny against them. It's not my problem. It's not me. They come up with this idea that it's the Jews and the media that are promoting interracial relationships. Now remember, with the white nationalist incels, the code word when they talk about interracial relationships, they're not talking about the white boy with his black female, the white boy with his brown skin Latina female, the white boy with his Asian they're not taught. That's not interracial to the white nationalist incels. The only time they coined the term interracial is when it's a white female with a black male. This is significant when you analyze their material and what they spew and the sources we see on the interwebs. Okay. So looking at it here, and I saw the screenshot. The guy here, he's commented on my channel a bunch of times. He's probably going to comment on this one or the next ones or whatnot. But it's like an anime kind of avatar. And so yeah, this guy here, I saw this comment on Light Skin History's channel. Shout out to Light Skin History. I believe it was on Light Skin History or For Light, one of the two. I don't recall, but shout out to both of them, For Light and Light Skin History. So I saw this comment, so I screenshotted it. As soon as I put the comment, you can see here it says like 0 seconds ago because as soon as I saw the comment, I replied and I screenshot it. It's like, let me talk about this over here. Puts here black BW is black women, right? Are not the ones having biracial children like that anyways. As long as WW, which is white women, want it, there's no stopping the existence of biracials. Precisely. As long as white women want to have mixed kids, there's nobody that can stop them. Remember, in the United States, which was, primarily white male patriarchy, which some people will say in many ways still today, but that's because a lot of the white women, who the black females think are their little buddy, are basically in cahoots, lockstep in supporting the white male patriarchy. Hence, when Trump runs for office, look who they vote for. Okay. And so they're the ones who have basically the wherewithal and the say of what they want. and it's the white males who will basically adhere to their demands, essentially. So the thing is, with the white male patriarchy, they've established laws, this anti-miscegenation laws in the United States, primarily in the South, where they had these strict laws where they would not give a marriage license to interracial couples. Okay. But all those laws have been uplifted. So now you have this rise, this, reemergence of mulattoes everywhere across the country. And there's not much they can do to stop it. They can try to demonize it, blame the Jews and all this crap on Twitter and wherever the hell else they are. But it's not going to stop people from connecting, getting with one another, and creating families and forming unions, right? Something that the white nationalist incels can't seem to do. They can blame the white women for who they sleep with, but these same incels, they can't like create their own family, right? Because problem solved. You create your own family, you're self-sustaining, you're productive, you support your own community. I feel like those type of people, they don't jump on Twitter and cry and complain about the quote unquote mud shark. That whole quote unquote mud shark argument, that's like a buzzword code word for a white boy that's not getting any pussy. Like, how is that like something to complain about? Who another woman sleeps with? Like, this is how I see it. Out of all the things you could worry about, a quote unquote mud shark, you just look at someone like that as a lost cause. Go on to the next one. There's so many individuals out here you can deal with, you know. But like I said, continue back to this comment. As long as white women want it, there's no stopping. Exactly. Exactly. And they know that. That's why their main like propaganda method and strategy is to shame the women. Hence, they use the term mud shark or burn the coal. I'm going to get into a few posts where you see that type of, language being spewed, but that they know that they can't stop it. So they're really amplifying their kind of shaming tactics to shame these women from dealing with black males and stuff like that, because that's primarily what their issue is white females with black males. They don't give a damn if it's a white boy with a black female. They're silent as church mice. Nothing to say. None of their social media posts on Reddit, X, nowhere to be found. They have nothing to say about Candace Owens or none of these people. If it's a white boy with his Asian fetish or white boy with his brown skin Latina fetish, they say nothing. The destruction of the white race and in race mixing, none of that stuff is on the table when it's the white boy with other races of women. They say nothing about it. Only when the white female exercises the same kind of sexual, privilege, if I can say that, or sexual, like it exercises, all of a sudden they look at it as being a threat. Very, very, very interesting. And I put the comment here, I replied, this is why the Wingnat incels are seething all over social media. Yeah, and it's purely that they're pushing this hardcore propaganda, anti-mulatto, male specifically male, right? Because they know you're not going to be a subordinate like the Bantu. They know the dark skinned black, they have them where they want them. I'm going to share a clip right now that emphasizes that lays it out. That they, because the white, and I see this in the workplace environment. I've been seeing this for a while. When I was in my quote unquote pro black phase, what helped me get the hell out of that is I realized the same pro blacks that all these damn mulattoes are trying to like suck up to, the same pro blacks, they are turning around and kissing the butt cheeks of their white master. And they're begging for the approval of their white master. Tariq Fraudshi, Dr. Umar, Boyce Watkins, the Black Authority, the rest of all your favorite little pro whacks you hear on social media. Okay. They all love and serve their white master. All of them. And they're begging for their approval, for their acceptance. So check the thing in the whites, they know this. They know this, all right? They know they got them where they want them. It's the mulatto, the ungovernable mulatto is what they fear. Okay. Because the mulatto is a very in a very palatable position, in a position of fluid position to where they can inspire multiple groups. They can inspire blacks as they have throughout history in the United States. And that's primarily why a lot of the whites fear you, because they know that. They know that even like back in Haiti and even back in we can talk about in with Hannibal and Carthage and other parts. This is, they primarily fear that the mulatto will rise up and get these blacks riled up. I started to see this shift in the United States of America with Colin Kaepernick in about 2016 when Trump got elected. 2016 is when I started to see the shift in the general kind of psyche of white America, just my dealings with people, with work, business, whatever, day-to-day life. And I start because they saw this mulatto who took a knee. He took a knee for national anthem, which national anthem is like the symbol, the pledge of allegiance to the white supremacist social order, right? And so they saw this mulatto who was protesting that, and all these blacks followed suit. All these dark-skinned Bantus on the football field followed suit. And you got to understand, the NFL, National Football League, majority white audience, right? Majority white fans. And they saw this mulatto who's adopted by, he's half white, but adopted by white, parents and whatnot. And he did this protest, and he had all these blacks who followed suit with his message. And see, this is what they fear ultimately. This is what they fear from you mulattoes. So, and like I said, I want to draw it back to the historical ramifications of where we are today in this fear, because they know they have the blacks where they want them. We're talking about the Anglos. The Anglos, they know they have the blacks where they want them. Docile, kissing butt, sucking butt, trying to get acceptance from the Anglos. That's their position. They've been bred that way. That's literally their whole position. They've been bred. So if you're a mulatto trying to like educate them and help them, like, you're wasting your damn time. Like, you mulattoes who are still on the pro wax shit, have fun. Just don't interfere with what I'm doing over here. Okay. I'm just going to let you know that. But have fun, because the programming is too deep, too embedded in their psyche, where all they want is white acceptance. And whites, the Anglos, they know they have these Bantus where they want them in North America. I'm talking about United States. They got them where they want them. So I'm going to share this clip I found. I was watching the miniseries with Halle Berry and the Queen. I think it was Alex Haley, whatever. I saw this clip. I was watching one of the scenes the other day. I was like, oh crap, okay, let me talk about this, because a lot of good information. Of course, the whole series is centered around Halle Berry, who's in real life mulatto, and in the movie she plays a mulatto queen, and she has kind of unfortunate circumstances that surrounds her life. It's about her, but there's a part in this movie that I want to talk about right now. So let's watch this. And I don't think it's playing. So let me. Okay, I'm gonna actually re-upload this because it's tripping right now. Let's get into this.
Miscegenation is our destruction. The African black was a harmless, docile creature that could be kept in the place that God and the Bible had assigned him.
You guys hear all that? He said the African black was a docile and harmless creature who was kept in his place that the God and the Bible assigned him to. This is significant. And I forgot to mention that what this scene is like with the KKK in the miniseries Queen with Halle Berry. But this takes place like, Reconstruction era. So post Civil War, like a decade after Civil War, if I'm not mistaken. So let's say 1870s, somewhere around there. Over 150 years ago, a long time ago. Okay. And but the history kind of repeats itself. We see how this traditions are passed on. The same fear and sentiments are still prevalent today in society concerning mulattoes. And you hear this Klansman at this rally who's literally publicly telling his members there that the African black, right, is docile, is perfect in nature. They're kept in their place, right? What did they fear? They fear the race mixing. And remember, like I told you, the race mixing is a code word for mulattoes, for African and European Union. They're not these Anglos are not talking about the indigenous or mestizos, the Latinos or the Hapas or Asians. They're not talking about them. When they talk about race mixing, they're thinking of you, mulatto. And a lot of you mulattoes, like you gloss over this. You don't stop and like look and observe and like, oh shit, these people are spreading propaganda, putting a target on your back. Where's your advocacy? That's why I named the stream, Who Will Advocate for You? Where's your advocacy? Who the hell is talking about advocating for you? They're positioning this as if this is like a black thing or something black. This Klansman just told you, and this is, a film, a movie, right? But real life implications. That's why I'm talking about it, because they don't fear blacks. They do not fear Bantus. He literally they're saying that there's a docile creature. They know the black is always going to try to kiss their butt and get their acceptance. It's you they fear. They fear that there's going to be more Colin Kaepernicks, more Barack Obamas who are going to challenge the social order. This is what they fear. And a lot of people, they just don't, it's not clicking with them. They don't seem to understand. They think it's,
Miscegenation is our destruction.
And like I said, he says miscegenation is our destruction. Like I said, race mixing, miscegenation, those are code words for anti-mulatto. Because if this same Anglo got his little Mexican preference or his little Asian fetish, they wouldn't say a peep, not a word. That's not race mixing or miscegenation, according to them. It's only miscegenation and race mixing when it's a black male with a white female. You have to understand the coded language they're using.
The African black was a harmless, docile creature that could be kept in the place that God and the Bible had assigned him.
I wanted to rewind that because just adding emphasis. He said the African black was a docile, and he said harmless creature. You guys hear that? I actually included the subtitles here. It's like the harmless creature and docile, the acquiescence. Like, see, and this is theatrics. This is a movie. But what the theater and cinema does is it kind of captures real life stories, right? And puts it, so it's like this is real life implications here. Like I see this every day in my daily interactions with these Anglos. I see it. Like they're so used and conditioned to deal with these blacks who just want to kiss their butt and be accepted by them or get a job or get a raise or something like that. Instead of doing their own shit, getting their own money, developing their own community, they want to join in with what the Anglos got going on. I see this every day. So like we're not the same people. Mulattoes are an independent group from the Anglos and the Bantus. And so who's advocating for the growing mulatto demographic? You don't have that much advocates out there. Sorry. You don't have to like me. You don't have to subscribe or listen, but a lot of you do. Got a lot of hate watchers. It's fine. Okay. You can still hate. You're still going to watch. You can still kiss my ass. But I'm saying like no one's advocating for you. And I'm not the nicest or best guy, but I'm a voice out here. Deal with it. But like if you think, everybody else has their agendas for you. And the thing is that they have a situation where they want to put you in a position of servitude to prove to them. Prove your patriotism, prove your loyalty. You got to prove your blackness. They all use different words to fit their agenda, but they want you to serve them. What is your destiny? What is your agenda for the mulatto man and woman?
But the liberal Yankee and the lecherous Jew have inbred with the animal to create a new and impure race.
You see that in the course, the Jewish conspiracies, which is typical with them. They always scapegoat the Jews because even today we see modern times, because this film I think was in the 80s, I believe. But they're basically talking about something 100 years ago, like I said, like 1870 or whatever. And but the same sentiment, they're blaming, scapegoating the Jews. And it says inbred with the animal. The animal are talking about the black, okay? And it says, and to create a new and impure race. Now, they have nothing to say. Like the term half caste, they're that's Indian and Anglo. Like they have that in England or the UK generally. And that's specifically for people who are from Asia, like South Asians that are mixed with white or Anglo. They would say half caste. And even in the United States, that term was used, but that term was half caste was used for half breed. They'd say that United States, that's used for people who are like Native American and half white. Okay. But even then, like maybe that was used a lot or historically, and in circumstances, like that's not their main concern, their main fear. Like when I'm pausing it here because it says here impure race, the Jews have inbred with the animal, impure race. They're talking about mulattoes, right? They're not highlighting it specifically. They did in this series in other circumstances, but this is ultimately, I'm trying to get my audience, people listening, to understand that this is really what it is. Like they'll use this coded language, talk about race mixing, miscegenation, just you don't have identity, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all anti-mulatto. They're not talking about these other demographics who are mixed. Okay.
That think of themselves our equal. That they
And he's saying this unpure race thinks of themselves as our equal. It's the fear. You hear that? That's why I'm sharing this with you guys, because he basically said the black, and even called them animals in here. He's saying that they're docile and harmless, but it's because of the liberal Yankees and the Jews who are trying to create this unpure race. And this unpure race, they think they're equal with us. You see, you hear the fear from him, right? The fear coming out of him. And it's the same sentiments you see today.
food out of your mouth. They take the land from our people. They're gonna take our women. I'm not afraid to die in defense of my country and my way of life. I'm not afraid to kill for my way of life. It is my sacred duty to God.
Yeah. Interesting. I can link that as well. Like with the timestamp where I found that. It's on YouTube. It's the Queen miniseries. They have that all on YouTube. That's where I found it. And I just had to share with you guys because it's like this is what we see today. This is what we see today. And it's interpreted or expressed in different manners, but it's the same sentiment. It's this anti-mulatto, this fear, this phobia of mulattoes. Has here Brazil try to get rid of black people through interracial and mixing to try to whiten the population but fail. God, coastal dynasty. Yeah, yeah. You got a lot of suckers for the Bantus. And like I said, my whole thing is I sit here and I'm saying, look, who's putting a battery in the back of the Bantus? Because we know even the Klansmen who's sitting there telling you they were docile, right? Let me play that again.
Miscegenation is our destruction. The African black was a harmless, docile creature.
The African black was a harmless, docile creature, right? And they still know the same thing today. They still feel the same way today. All these whites who love football, NFL, right? It's the same today. They know that the dark-skinned Bantu is a harmless, docile creature dealing with them. But what do they fear? Because the Anglos have developed all this superior technology, warfare strategy. Okay. They have everything mapped out. Aircrafts, all the weaponry and everything, right? So it's like they don't fear the Bantu. They don't fear, they have the Bantu where they want. It's only the lower level, white boy incels who can't get any pussy who are crying about blacks. Like on that level, we see ultimately their fear is the mulatto. They fear the offspring that the black male and the white female will create, because that mulatto is not going to be acquiescent to the Anglo hegemony. the way that this dark skinned Bantu has been conditioned to be. And this is precisely what you're hearing when you listen to that the Klansman in that the clip I just shared. He was literally like, "They're the African black was created harmless and docile, like they can control and contain." He even referenced animal. He said animal. He's like the Jews that try to make them, breed with these animals to create an impure race. I saw this clip the other day, a couple of days ago. I was like, "Oh shit, let me jump up here and talk about this because this is part and parcel of what we talk about over here." We have to highlight this stuff, and a lot of this stuff goes unnoticed. It goes under the radar, and it's taught through the lens of blackness. When you need a mulatto voice that's gonna express this through the mulatto lens that we just already, basically highlighted that this Anglo Klansman is not fearful of the black. He literally publicly said in the movie clip that the African black was created, harmless. He's a harmless creature, docile, right? We know that. But what does he fear? He fears that this impure race thinks that they're equal to the whites, challenging European hegemony. That's what he fears. And blacks are not going to tell that side of the story. They're going to paint it all that, oh, they just fear black and blah, blah. He just told you he doesn't fear you people. They don't fear you like that. No, they fear that you're going to get with their women and create a bunch of us. This is ultimately the end game. They fear us, not you. Very interesting stuff. We have to highlight it. And things we have to talk about it. Who else is talking about it? Nobody else. Nobody else. So I got to be the one to talk about it. Okay. Here we are right now. Shout out to you guys, all you that are listening. Like I said, a lot of these live streams I'm doing right now, these are just like impromptu. Not a lot of not a whole lot of preparation, although I do like to be professional and prepare. But with something like this, I just want to hop up here, give you guys some good content. But I will be back on Sunday with a gentleman who's been on the platform a few times. We're going to have a meaningful discussion. But I got a few more things I want to share here. I'll possibly drop the link before I call it an evening. If you guys want to stay engaged, it's all on you. So you guys can see on the screen here. Now, this is from an infamous garbage human profile. I mean, they give me material to talk about. Now, this profile, they basically, this is on X, and I think the guy is Australian. He's in Australia. And he's positioned his whole like social media brand, his whole, page on X to be a basically a quote unquote mud shark shaming page. Because I follow them. You can see here it says following because they're giving me material to talk about. They're talking about us. Fuck that. I'm not gonna let these people talk about me and my people without responding. This is a new day. This idea where we're supposed to live in the shadows, like if the scared pussy mulattoes want to hide underneath the Bantus, they can stay over there, okay, and have fun. Over here, we're going to talk about this. And so yeah, this page, they basically position themselves to be, like I said, a quote unquote mud shark shaming page, basically. Now they only have an issue with race mixing about it's affecting, or destroying white civilization. They only have an issue with that when it's a white female exercising her right to be with whoever the hell she wants to be with. When it's a white male spreading his seed around the planet like a Mick Jagger or you name it. All these white guys, with all these different races of women, like the Star Wars director, creator George Lucas has a black wife. They have nothing to say about that. You know, they're only talking shit about, Robert De Niro and his kids, his mulatto kids, because Robert De Niro was talking shit about Trump. That's one of the reasons why they're hating on Robert De Niro. But other than that, like none of these other white guys, they say a damn thing about, like Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly, I don't listen to his music, but I know he has a mulatto daughter. He has a kid. He has a mulatto kid. Machine Gun Kelly. I know he's like a pop star or something. I don't listen to his music, but like I never see these white boys, these incels. I never see them talk about him. I never see it. They never talk about these white guys that got mixed kids. There's a bunch of athletes, top level, white male athletes in boxing and NFL basketball who got like black wives, they got mixed kids. They never say shit about that. It's only when it's a white female that has a mixed kid, then the white nationalist incels, they feel like they're losing something. They're losing access. Out of all the other potential, partners out here, we feel like they're losing something. So this page, they position themselves to be on that tip. Okay. And I saw this right here, and they got so much material, like I said, for me to talk about. I'm only going to cover a couple things and then, move on, call it a day, because I'm not going to basically lose sleep and worry about what these random troll accounts and avatars on X have to say, but I'll gloss over some of it and, inform you guys for sure. So this whole post, this guy's talking crap about this woman here. Let's see, with her mixed kid. Bison track star Kelly smashing school records while being a single mom. They're highlighting the fact that she's a single mom, but not with the white boy kid. It's the fact that it's a mulatto kid, and specifically male, is what you have to understand as well. When you analyze all their posts, they're mainly upset that it's the male. Okay. Like I said, because that male is going to grow up and not basically acquiesce to Anglo hegemony, unlike the dark skinned Bantu. The dark skinned Bantu is conditioned to serve Anglo males. And the fact that you mulatto males are like, you know, trying to be, underneath black males is fucking despicable, especially in this day and age. We're going in 2025. A lot like, J. Cole, the rapper J. Cole, he's a good rapper. He's very lyrical. I like, I as an intro song, one of his tracks, I played it on my last stream. J. Cole's very talented rapper, very, so, but just his, how do I want to say this? Like the way he's positioned himself to be apologetic, to fit into the culture and all this stuff, those type of mulattoes, they're going to get really clowned moving forward. I'm just one guy, but I see like the discussion on all these other platforms, like these mulattoes who acquiesce to Bantus to try to fit in and they don't develop their own shit, like they're going to get really fucking clowned in the future. So, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I had to say that because that's, yeah, moving forward. This is what we see. So look at it, says here, the father always bails and white women never learn. Look at the comments here. And I put 97% of all interracial relationships end up as single mothers. Of those, 78% end up in violence. Those are staggering numbers. Now, Lady U, I don't know who this is. Yeah, whatever. But the thing is like I said, the code words for the white nationalists, when they say interracial, that's a code word for anti-mulatto. Just like the white nationalists will say diversity is a code word for like anti-white or something like that. They say something like that. But see, diversity is good for the Anglo when they can claim all these mestizos, all these Hapas. They've claimed the Jews to be a part of their group. They claim the Arabs, They talk about Caucasian. You check Caucasian, it says Northern Africa. Oh, really? Caucasians are from Northern Africa? Interesting. They need the numbers. So they always basically recalibrate and reposition like who it gets to classify to be a part of their group. I saw this when I was in Ghana. I was in Ghana in the study abroad, and there was what I think like 3 Anglos there, blonde hair, blue eyed, all that stuff. And one of the ladies we were in, most of the group, there was like more mulattoes than black. To be honest, I was one of them. There was a few other mulattoes there, and a few blacks in our student kind of group. And one of the ladies, the white girl, was like, "Oh, there's like 5, white people here, So she was trying to act like, oh, she's outnumbered, and a black land. We were in Ghana. It was everyone's black there. And during that we would always do these briefings. We called it a briefing. We'd have like a group kind of, meetup or discussion every day about what we did and stuff like that. And we have the journal. It was a good experience. Love the experience. And I mentioned to the woman, like during the whole group, I mentioned everybody. You see how this woman, how she claims, because there was one guy was Armenian. Clearly, he didn't have blonde hair like those other three Anglos. He had brown hair, brown eyes. Like, you look at him, you can clearly, you're not an Anglo. And one of the other women, she had brown hair and or black hair and like brown eyes. Like, she was, and when I first met the woman on the trip, she's a nice girl. She was telling me she's half like Syrian, half Arab or something, half white, something like that. And it's like, and after this Anglo, blonde hair, blue eyed, was like, oh, there's five, white people here on a trip. And after the discussion, I basically brought that up and mentioned, you see how the Anglo claims these Arabs to be a part of their group. See, I've been seeing this for a minute. And we look at the whole Caucasian, category. They claim the Arabs, even if they're mixed Arabs, a part of their group. They need those numbers. This is what I'm trying to highlight. When you look at these code words you see here, when it says this person puts interracial relationships, they're not talking about the brown skinned Arab with the Anglo. They're not that's not interracial to the Anglo. That's boosting up their numbers for them. It's only interracial when when a mulatto child is produced. Then it's interracial. A lot of mulattoes got to start to realize this. I just gave you guys my firsthand knowledge experience of this in real time. And these were people, they're kind of younger than me. I was one of the older guys there. They were like in their 20s, whatever. And in this, I saw it literally in my own eyes. I was like, they're claiming Arabs now. These Anglos are claiming Arabs to be a part of their quote unquote whites. North African, European, people from the Middle East, North African, European, they're white. You check white. It's like, yeah, they need the numbers. They claim these people. They didn't claim my ass. I got a German American mom. My mom's white. They didn't, they're not claiming me, which is fine. I never asked to be claimed by them. But I'm just pointing out the fact of how the game works, the strategy works, and how they're good at that. They're good at incentivizing groups and putting other groups against other groups. That's what their tool is. They've been able to do that around the planet. Now, people can use the whole colonizer term and whatever. That's fine. That's not really in my lexicon vernacular so much. I'm being ultra specific with the whole Anglo, terminology. But what I'm gonna say is strategy, political strategy, sociology. They're very good. Look at how they're doing today, how they're using these dark-skinned Bantus against mulattoes. We know these dark-skinned Bantus, they're super fucking cocky today, all over social media. Why is that? Why are they so cocky and boastful and proud, talking shit about light-skinned people? And all they're doing is empowering these lighter-skinned blacks. They're gonna just basically separate these quote-unquote red bones, even these blacks who grew up in the hood. Look, I didn't grow up in the hood around you people, dark skin or light skin, whatever. I don't identify. Like the whole Golden Sphere and Caesar Cannon, who grew up around these blacks, I don't identify with you people. I didn't grow up around you people. You're not my people. I don't identify with you. But what I'm saying is a lot of these lighter skinned people, quote unquote golden, like a Caesar Cannon or these other light skinned blacks, they're basically now they see everything, the writing on the wall. They're delineating themselves and basically quote unquote separating themselves from the pack. To me, I'm sitting there looking low. I was never part of the group. I just went over there to help them out. I was like, hey, I see the game for what it is. I see how the Anglos are able to use their Mexican mestizo buffer class, and basically promote them, incentivize them, because that's what they're good at. They do it around the planet. They incentivize a certain demographic population and pick that population to target the other population. I don't have the right words to express it at the moment, but they're very good at that, putting other groups against one another. That's what their specialty is, because they're the minority of the planet. They have to be able to effectively use strategy to pretend like they're your friend and give you, weapons or food or incentivize you and then say, hey, you're better than them. And they go punk them. You make them feel you're better, because like I said, they're doing that now with the Bantu. Like, how the hell did this happen? How is it that they're all these white boys who watch NFL, they love football and all this shit, and it's very bizarre how they're incentivizing this Bantu, but it's all anti-mulatto sentiment we see from them. And of course, we see right here. I don't know who GOG personality is. He says, In real life, couples are loving their love life and loving their families. And this is a black guy, a white female, and the white female's taking a picture, selfie, with her two mixed kids. This exists. There's a channel, I think they're based in Arizona. It's called Hey, We Are the Callers or something like that. I follow their page. I don't know if they're still uploading content. I just haven't seen their videos on my timeline, but like you have real interracial couples like that, white female, black male. Most of the time the black male's got money. Like even I don't know any of these like family names. Like I do follow a couple of them. There's one of them that's like a big page on, TikTok or social media. They got like millions of subscribers, followers, a white female, black male. And I'm looking at the video, like the house they're in to do the video. Like these people are loaded with cash. They got a ton of money and shit. These aren't like broke people with these YouTube or social media channels, right? But then look at the comment here. So to me, this looks like a healthy couple, healthy picture, right? The woman smiling, the man smiling. There's nothing like to me I see wrong with this picture. They both look happy. Like they have a life together. They're probably both well off. They're wealthy. Like whose business is it with these two people living their life? Look at this guy here, Red. He puts here a staged pic isn't proving anything. This is just more anti-white propaganda. How is it anti-white propaganda? And he said it's a staged pic. How is it staged? It's a Jew behind the camera. That's what this white boy incel is going to tell you. When it's literally, you can see that from the image, the woman, the blonde-haired little Aryan princess is holding the camera to take the selfie, but it's staged. And I clicked on his picture or his profile, and I saw this earlier today, looking up some of my notes. Joined September 2023, Southwest Ontario. Okay. And he's like, what? It says boiler maker, right? So he's a blue collar worker boy, right? Of course, he reposts Elon Musk, as I told you guys, since Elon Musk basically took over kind of X. He did. So all these white boy incels are super comfortable today, which is fine. So I don't know why they cry all the time. That's the thing. Because now they're positioning themselves to be just like the blacks. They want to cry and shit about their position out here, how they're losing. And says banner in Poland, white countries for white people. Do you agree? Yeah, Poland's a majority white nation. I have a student out in Poland as well. Let me see. I need to find this post that I thought I had it. I thought it was like literally right on his timeline. Oh, I think I have to click the media because he shared it. That's what it was. Look at this. This is because I went to his profile. You guys can see this right now in real time. Look at his comment. This ugly mongrel. And this is what, November 22nd, couple weeks ago. And he has a picture of Zendaya. And we're like, what's the context here? He puts this ugly mongrel. And look at the initial kind of comment says, who's an actor with zero chops or range, yet somehow keeps getting work? He doesn't say anything about a black. This white boy doesn't say anything about Asian or Arab or Latino. Who does he select to insult and ridicule and slander and defame? Who does he pick? The mulatto woman. And it's funny because this mulatto is married to a white guy. And I see all these mulattas, on TikTok particularly, that love to be fetished by the white boy. I mean, you see that all over, in the adult film industry. They love to be whores for the white boy and all this stuff. And then it's funny, you go on X, and this is how this guy's talking about you, calling you an ugly mongrel, right? And like I said, he doesn't point out the Asian. He doesn't talk about Mexican or other white women. He specifically chose you, Zendaya. Zendaya's just minding her business. But he chose, and I'm trying to add emphasis on this because we look at his initial comment that he put here when a picture of a black male and a white female. And he said it's propaganda. It's staged. It's anti-white propaganda. But when someone asked a question, Who's an actor that's getting all these roles that doesn't deserve it? He chose a mulatto woman and said, "This ugly mongrel." I mean, you cannot make this shit up, guys. I saw this earlier today. It's like, let me bring my ass up here and talk about it with you because this is great, good material for me. This proves my point. My doubters, my haters, what the fuck? What can they say? Like, this proves everything I've been saying. Completely spot on with my analysis. I'm going to share all these links with you guys. You guys will have access to that, to this very interesting stuff. I got one more, maybe a couple more I got for you guys. See what your guys' thoughts on this. Because like I said, this is kind of a not the most positive, material to cover, but like I said, someone's got to cover it. Someone's got to talk about it, man. I mean, it's not always rainbows and peaches and whatnot. Somebody's got to talk about this stuff. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of these, people are too afraid. So we got to talk about it. So another post from Garbage Human. Like I said, the thing is, they look at this woman. It says 59 miles away, Randy 24. It's like probably a Tinder profile. And they're mocking her. The thing is, like I said, this is like a kind of mud shark, quote unquote, mud shark humiliation kind of page now. This Garbage Human. Not a real political page. You're not going to follow them for politics. You're not going to follow them for any life advice or any type of skills to develop. You're going to follow them. They want to just kind of roast and clown white women who are exercising the same liberties that these white boys are doing. You got white boys who are methed out, having bastard kids. Like, everyone else is exercising the same rights, but they highlight white females particularly. Now, what they're really bothered by, you look at this woman here, she's gorgeous. Like, you look at her, she looks like she could be a model. Like, she's a very attractive woman. Blonde hair, blue eyes, everything. She's got it all. Facial symmetry. And that's why they're really seething. They're really mad. They see her, and then they see next to her, her kid. That's her kid. They see the mulatto kid with the hair texture and all that brown, kind of brown skin. They're really bothered by that because then they're like, okay, she's been imprinted by a black. And that's okay. That's their right to say that, to acknowledge that. Like, I have my own viewpoints about mulatto women who are trying to identify as black and they get a black guy and then they end up being baby mamas. Like, I have my own views on that. But for me, when I'm talking about this is because ultimately they talk about the kid with these white nationalist incels, and they spread conspiracies about Jews, and then they say the Jews want to destroy us by creating these mulattoes. We're like, oh shit, well, the mulattoes have a voice now. Let's talk about this. And so, yeah, and so we see the picture here. It's like yeah, typical. There's a lot of that. And then the comment here, like I said, this is typical for the scapegoating of Jews. He puts here exactly what the Jews want. Exactly. The Jews want this. It's such an easy, convenient scapegoat. Like, no, this is a white chick. I don't know where she's American or where country she's from, who has the wherewithal. And it's saying miles. So I'm guessing it's United States, because in other nations, don't they use like kilometers or whatever? They have a different metric system. So like, no, this is a white woman who's exercising the same liberty and freedoms that white boys have. They never talk about George Lucas or these other white boys who have, black female partners and mixed kids. They don't say shit about that. And they're upset because this woman you see on the screen is very gorgeous, very pretty woman. They're upset about that she chose, and she's on a dating website anyways, but they're like, well, you already got a black guy. Why are you trying to get a white guy now? All right. That's their thoughts on it. Okay. But the thing is, the conspiracies they spread about the Jews, they blame the Jews. Has nothing to do with Jewish people. It's such a pathetic, easy scapegoat. Like in this, day and age, at this point, they're gonna blame the Jews for why their coffee is cold. These white nationalist incels are gonna blame the Jews for why their car won't start. Never mind the fact that they didn't even replace the battery or change the oil. They're gonna blame everything on fucking Jews. Like, that's why it's just pathetic and embarrassing to see them. They act just like blacks. These Anglo wingnat incels on social media, they cry and complain like they're victims, just like blacks. We need Donald Trump in there. He's going to change and fix this. He's going to make America great again. All this woke liberal ideology, these are all code words, okay? Like all that. They want to be victims just like blacks, right? This is what it is. And so, like, no, this woman had the freedom to be with whoever the hell she wanted. She gambled. Okay, maybe her decision wasn't the best. She's young, Randy, 24, and she's attractive enough. She's pretty enough. She can get away with a lot of shit. Okay. She can make a couple of bad decisions and then she can kind of fit. She's attractive enough. They call that pretty privilege. Yeah, she can rebound real quick and come up. A lot of women have. Look at Joe Rogan's wife. Joe Rogan's partner wife. I mean, she was with a black guy. He was like an R&B singer or something, but I think he ended up got deceased from a car accident. But she ended up finding Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like the number two podcaster. He's been like the number one, number two podcaster for a minute, loaded with cash. He's worth like millions, multi-million dollars. So like, I don't see anything like any downside. This female here, she'll have all the opportunities just based off the pretty privilege. Yeah. But these like incel guys want to talk shit about, oh, it's the Jews and oh, you're done. You can't find another man bullshit. Right. I saw that here as he said about the Jews, exactly what the Jews want. Like, what? It says, why do they blame the Jews when it's American women who are to blame? Always victimizing bitches. Yeah, because they act just like the blacks they complain about. They do these little stupid memes with a black guy, like all animated. Like, these jokes are not funny anymore, bro. Like, they're corny. And that's the reason why it's like, well, we know black guys are funnier than white guys. I can say that publicly. Okay. With my face on camera. Yeah, African American males are basically the funniest, as far as comedy, the comedic relief are the funniest people basically you're going to find. And it's like, so we look at these memes, these white incels try to position. It's like this shit's not even really relevant or funny anymore. It's just kind of cringe at this point. Like, how are you're going to blame like some random Jew? No, this chick, Randy, just wanted what she wanted. And she didn't want you, the white boy. And they're upset with that. So they have to logically try to rationally like explain that there's some like mysterious Jew behind the scenes orchestrating it. But the thing is, they complain like bitches, just like black people that they complain just like the black people they try to cry about all day. Because women are more susceptible to suggestion by media, which is controlled by Jews. Of course, it's a fucking troll account. Of course, some pussy behind an avatar. Because women are more susceptible to suggestion by media. And you boys aren't. Black boys, white boys, whatever, Mexican boys, you're not. It's only the women who are controlled by media, not you boys watching Fox News and CNN. Right? It's not only female audience. You guys get your news sources from, where do you get your news sources from? You guys are all basically susceptible to media as well, which is controlled by Jews. Oh, the scapegoat. Yeah, they control everything. Yeah. The blackwashing of the white race is clearly spelled out in the protocols of the elders of Zion, right? More conspiracy theories. I don't see Israeli women sleeping with Africans. You are the problem that put those BI on a pedestal. He's talking about the white. This count is suspended. Yeah, it's it's white boy inceldom at an all-time high. And they're seething at the mouth, especially with this. When they see this woman, like I said, she's like a Barbie doll. You look at her, the facial symmetry, like the jawbone, cheekbones, nose bridge, lips. I doubt she has any plastic surgery or whatever, but she's pretty much, I would say, like a 10. Blonde. Of course, I like mulattas, mestiza, Latina, whatever, but I'm a dude. So it's like looking at her, analyzing her, like, she's pretty much a 10. She's top notch. And I think that's what they're really upset about when they look at her and they see her. Like, and the thing is, yeah, because she chose a black guy and not a white guy. She has a kid there. She has a kid as a result. And now she's back on the dating market, which she can, and she'll still find guys. She'll still find her white boys or cucks, they call cucks, which is, quintessential with white boy. Unfortunately, don't blame me for that. You guys earned that. Okay, anybody can do an internet search and find you guys, you white boys getting paid, okay, being cucked, and that's your reputation out here. Don't blame me. But you will. You'll scapegoat. You'll blame the Jew, blame the mulatto, and all this shit. And it's like your own women. You pedestalize these women. And that's what this guy puts right here. He doesn't see Israeli women in Israel, Jewish women sleeping with all these Africans. No, yeah, they put these women on a pedestal, and these women are like committing open mutiny against them. Like they're taking power. They're power hungry. That's why I have all these females in like politics. You got what, Tulsi Gabbard? You think Tulsi Gabbard is going to sit behind Donald Trump's ass for long? It's a political position. It's a move. She switched from Democrats to Republican. She's going to try to move up the Republican ladder. She saw how easy it was for Trump to secure a presidency. And people, Trump, this is like the fourth time he's ran for office. Didn't Trump run for office in the 80s and the early 2000s? He's had excuse me, Donald Trump has had a couple or a few unsuccessful presidential runs. A lot of people forget that. They think Trump is just, he's not even a politician. That's what some of these stupid ass, fake ass conservative idiots try to say. Trump is not a politician. He's a businessman. If Trump is not a politician, why the fuck did Trump run for office way back then? Now he's been he's just been strategic about it. Like, yeah, this is like Donald Trump's like what, fourth or fifth presidential run. This is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, her second run, she's failed miserably both times. So I don't know what her deal is, but Trump has already failed like 3 times out of 5, if I'm not mistaken. He's ran a couple times. People only talk about 2016 and just right now 2024, but I can look at like Donald Trump. I want to get the correct numbers now that I'm quoting it. Yeah, the presidential run. He's ran multiple times. Okay. He unofficial campaign in 2012 and 2004. So Trump has officially run as a candidate for president 4 times. In 2000, 2004, 2012, 2016, he won. He lost 2020, and he just won 2024. It's like I'm saying, it says 4 times Trump has ran for president, but he lost like twice, or it's like 3 times. The numbers I'm seeing here is 5 times, but he's like one half a time. So I'm like, he's not a spring chicken. And people are saying he's not a politician. He's new. He's special. You fucking fools. In 2000, he ran for president. Like, bro, that's 25 years ago. How is it that he's not a politician when he ran for office? I'm just saying, like, some of these idiots you see on social media, man. And he puts here, I know what Zionism is, but at the end of the day, you are accepting that they are stronger than North American society. Coincidentally, they did not abandon their religion. Neither did the Muslims. You gave in to this progressive woke shit. You renounced your own race. Who to blame? The whites are to blame. The Anglos are to blame. Their own women are committing mutiny against them. They gotta find a scapegoat for their own degeneracy, their own failure, and their own calculation errors. They gotta blame the Jews. They gotta blame the mulattoes, right? They know they got the blacks where they want them because the Kendrick Lamar, he's powered by the Anglo machine. He's going to be at the NFL. Who controls the NFL? Not the mulattoes. The Anglos, all the owners of the NFL, are white, and then all the manufacturers of the equipment, all the media production, ESPN, all that, it's all controlled by white. And then all the main audience and customers, consumers of the NFL are white, but they're going to have this black Kendrick Lamar pro whack with his little fucking slave song singing there. Like, this is, these Bantus are empowered by Anglos, and they're pushing an anti-mulatto agenda. And I see this at the microcosm, at the minimal lower level in society, but you see this in media at the higher levels. It's all around you guys if you just look at these sources. Puts here, no, and no time did I say that, but I can't read the initial comment because it's suspended. Say that, but if you are in a position of a victim, you can't get anywhere. Believe me, I know what it's like to be in shit. Instead of blaming third parties, we, quote unquote, the society, accept that the mistake was ours. The first step is to accept to change. In the history of humanity, the strongest has always subdued the weakest. If you are being subjected, blaming others, you are not going to achieve anything. First, it is to locate the internal enemy who sold you. They can't do that kind of introspective analysis because that's the thing. This guy, I don't know, Santiago, he's Italian, he's Argentinian, so most likely he's probably could be Italian guy. They say like Argentinians is like an Italian who speaks Spanish but they think they're Anglo, right? Basically. And so that's the whole thing here where it's like he can even see it here. Like a lot of these white nationalist incels, they position themselves to be victims, but it's very laughable today. Like you want to act just like the blacks and pretend you're a victim when your own women, they see this Barbie doll here choose a man who's not doesn't look like one of them. It's not a Jewish conspiracy. Like, oh, it's the media. The Jews say it's a good thing. Go do it. No, you have money, you have skill sets, you could have swag, you could get this chick. I'm in a community where I live right now. It's mostly white couples and white families. Okay. So I'm sitting there like, well, it's pretty much normal for the whites to get together and have families, create families. That's normal. But they get so, fixated and bothered when they see one example like this one sample example on social media, and the engagement 1.3 million views, 18,000 likes, and over 1.5K, 1,500 comments. There's a lot of engagement, way more than me, you know. But like they get so fixated when they see one story. It's because she's an attractive female. Let's be real. Yeah. Okay, it's been an hour already. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Let me drop the link right now. Like I said, I didn't want to kind of bother you guys with it because, it's necessary to talk about it, but I know over time it can kind of be redundant and kind of just like, ugh, I get it. But still, guys, we have to, if people are, and I want to point out to the audience, the fact is that when you see these terms about interracial, all this stuff, they're mainly talking about mulattoes now. They're not talking about Asian and white. They're not talking about Latino and white. No. They're not talking about Arabic and Asian or Arabic Latino. No, no. They're talking about European African. Okay. You guys need a place that's yours as well. I didn't see one out here, so I created my own shit. Say what you want. You don't like it, you don't have to tune in, listen. I got some hoes, some hate watchers and fans, but it's like, okay, you're not my core audience. I don't, you can do all the defamation and slander. It's not going to stick. People are going to still rock with me. And my numbers will show that. People will always support me more than what the haters try to position. All the slander campaigns, like you're still going to have people around the planet. That's the beautiful thing. It's not just United States. Around the planet, people will still want to deal with me. And they can't stop that. So the hate they have, it's really just weird and creepy. I don't get it. It says Donald Trump is German Scottish. His father was a white supremacist. His grandfather supported KKK, and some Black Americans support him. Yeah, well, Black Americans, they're former slaves. They're lost. Unfortunately, I don't know what to say. Yeah, you got all these blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump, which the Latinos for Trump makes sense. Okay, we get it. They've always supported the strong Anglo to be above them. That's why no other race on the planet will allow a Latino or Hispanic to be their kind of manager boss above them unless they're paying them handsomely, because they see they kind of fall in line with the Anglos. It's like, why the hell am I going to have you as an authority over me when I can just go to the source, right? But these blacks who are basically like blacks for Trump, it's yeah, I'm not so like I shared initially that clip with the KKK guy talking about their harmless, docile creature. This everybody can see this historically. This is what it is. Shout out to you, Northern Lights. People here, did you know about? Oh yeah, you. I saw a comment you put about that mixed population, early Appalachia. I'll check it out. Thank you for sharing that. Hello to you. It says please do this like 3 hours earlier next time. Let me know where you are, what location you are in. If you watch the replay, drop a comment. You can always email me. I don't know. Do I have my email on the banner here? I'll create a banner right now. My email is mulatto@gmail.com. So you can always email me or you can find me on Instagram as well. And you can send me an email if you like. And you see that? mulatto@gmail.com. You can always send me an email. Let me know like your preference, timing of the stream. I do my best to try to accommodate. I typically always have these late night streams because where I'm at, my time zone, I get off work, I get off doing what I'm doing, I hop up on here and quote unquote talk my ish. Okay. Share with the public. So yeah. I got somebody in the background. I think I got Al show. I'll add you up in a minute or a second, Al. Just let me get through a couple of these comments. Put here, James Boss says, when a white boy from a white community can't get a white woman, they go to divester and get, not only that, they get an Asian woman. What I see with the trends with white boys, if they can't get a white woman, they get a Hispanic, a Latina woman, or an Asian woman. Nobody says a word. I never see black males talk shit about who white boys are dating or doing. All these, homosexual LGBT white boys. I never see black men with social media pages clowning them, chastising them, mocking them. You guys notice that? That's why I'm trying to point this out. Like, I never see any other demographic try to shame white males for who they're dealing with, their partners. But for whatever reason, when a black male is with a white female, all of a sudden they got shit to say. Even when it was I don't know, do I still have that image up? Let me see, where the guy was trying to say, oh, that's just propaganda, that's just anti-white propaganda. Let me see if I can find it. I think I got to go back a couple. Here we go, right here. Let me share my screen real quick. I see you, Al. I'll bring you up in a minute. Just let me finish this thought. When you see a harmless photo like this that someone shared in real life, couples are loving their love life and loving their families. Again, because this is an attractive white woman, okay, blonde hair, blue eyed, very attractive. She has a black male partner, you know, and they have kids, they have a family. And then this guy here puts a stage pic isn't proving anything. This is just more anti-white propaganda. 6 views, 1 like. Okay, who's the ugly, hopeless incel who liked his comment? But like, this is just a normal picture, a random picture, and a guy saying it's staged. It doesn't prove anything. It's anti-white. And we go to his page. We already know his biases. He's anti-mulatto. He's already proven himself. We see right here. We go to his profile. He says this ugly mongrel. And the guy's asking a general question, 77 million views. He says, who's an actor that has 0 chops or range, yet somehow they keep getting work? And he targets Zendaya. And it's not the most appealing picture of Zendaya. The sad part about it is Zendaya is married to a white guy. You see the confusion here. This is, oh, this is propaganda. This isn't real. It's a very bizarro world we see just here reporting the news, right? Okay, and you put here ESPN owned by Roger Eager, who is Jewish, by the way. I'm just saying. Okay. ESPN, which is Disney, and Disney is Bob Iger. Yeah, Robert Bob. Yeah, Iger. Yeah, he's Jewish. Okay. Yeah, and Fox News. Okay. Yeah. And the Anglos work with the Jews, right? The Anglos love Ben Shapiro. The Anglos work with the Jews and they work with the Bantus. As long as they get their deal out of it, it's all good. But once they're not getting the upper hand and getting their deal out of it, all of a sudden they whine and cry. They got to blame somebody but themselves, right? Just like Trump, they always got to blame somebody else but themselves. That's how it works. What's up, Al?
Hey, how are you doing? How are things?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Just another kind of late night creep. I know you're in
Oh,
Hawaii, so the time zone. You're like
yeah.
a few
Oh,
hours ahead of
yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's like what, 8 p.m. here. So I just,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not getting it's easy for me because I don't get to my videos because I don't watch TV anymore. I just watch YouTube. So I just watch stuff on YouTube until go to sleep and then
I had a quick question for you. I follow you on TikTok. You're doing the inside the NFL kind of clips. Do you plan on doing any other like kind of biracial clips or thoughts, just even on maybe
Um,
talk or something?
it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, the name of my podcast is called Outside the NFL, but I can see why you said inside because there's a show called Inside the NFL. Because of that the title of my podcast was meant to be like the opposite of that. So for intentional reasons. I just had a thought. I don't know that I'll do it, but I this year has been the first time that I've done podcast. I've never done a podcast before, never wanted to, meaning being the host of a podcast. So I have a film podcast, which I wrapped up. I had to wrap up because of this outside the NFL that I'm doing. So I had to get that done. I just thought recently, I think it was, I don't know if it's watching one of your videos or watching some other video, but I thought about possibly, I'm not saying I'll do this, but possibly doing a podcast about biracial people. I've thought about it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but I've been considering it. I don't know where I'm going to fit this podcast because I already have two already, but I thought about it. I've considered it. In terms of the TikTok, that's a writing channel, so that's not really intended for mixed race stuff. And I'm not really a mixed race content creator. But since I'm not, and I've never been a mixed race content creator, meaning in terms of biracial, multiracial stuff, I considered doing a podcast. I never would have thought about that before. But that's only because I've done a podcast. I've done it already. So I've thought about it. I don't know. And this whole podcast that I'm doing now is taking time up out of my life. And it's busy. So my
It should be
recommendation
something
is
fun though, Al. Like for me,
yeah,
this
go ahead.
is Friday. I was just gonna say this is Friday evening for me. This is just something fun, like it's a hobby. But when I was meeting like connecting with Beatrice over in Brazil, like I seen her passion, her dedication, her brand. Like she just shared some of my material today on Instagram. Like I owe like my Instagram kind of following to her basically because most of my followers are Brazilian because of her, because she shared my material on Instagram. And like I was motivated, I guess inspired, I could say, by her effort, her professionalism, her approach to her social media, her brand, where it's more for her, it's like a business, I guess I could say. Where for me, this is just more like I just want an outlet with my day-to-day
Mhm,
life and what I'm doing with work, living life. Like I want to have the microphone in front of me to where I can speak to people and it resonates with the audience. I want to connect with other people out here.
mhm.
So um it could, yeah, it be a business for sure, right? It
Right. You
shouldn't be
know what?
stressful. It shouldn't be stressful. That's the thing, right?
W- Well, yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, I really had never done a podcast before. So I'm somebody, I mean, I worked at radio years ago, but it's different. I'm in front of a board and I've got, all the carts, meaning cartridges that you got to play. And CDs I got to put in the machine and play and all that. But so I have a background in radio, and that's my only broadcast background. And I did news in college in radio, but yeah, I don't know. You're right. It should be, because this is basically a hobby for me, but it's a lot. It's been more work than I intended, because because it's sports. You got to do the preparation. You just have to. Like, I'm watching games every week, and then I've got to go and do it live to tape, because I don't edit my show. It's live to tape. So I do it Howard Cosell style. Meaning, when Howard Cosell would do on Monday Night Football, when he would do the what is that? The recap of the scores for on Sunday, which is what it used to be. He would do it right off the top of his head. No cue cards, no notes, nothing. He would like that and do it. So when I do the show, it's essentially Howard Cosell style. I have basically some scores in front of me, but that's it. I don't write anything down. It's right off the top of my head. So, you're filling and doing a 30-minute show. No, I don't want to discourage people from doing podcasts out there. So look, it's just me, but it's been a lot of work. It really has, which I didn't really expect. But I was thinking of doing a biracial podcast. I'm thinking of doing it, but this podcast is kicking my butt. I can't wait for this season to be over. And then so I can kind of get back to a normal life, whatever that is. And, just not have to think about putting out a show every week, because it's a grind every week. Okay, I got to do that. But yeah, I have thought about doing a podcast about biracial. I don't know what it would be. Biracial individuals, multiracial individuals. I don't know if I don't think it'll be specifically biracial. I think it's just going to be mixed race. And I don't know if I'll actually go through with it, because I already have 2 podcasts. So, I don't know if I'll do it.
I hear you. I had a quick question for you. What are your thoughts about the conversation with the South African gentleman, Elroy Swartz, who jumped on the panel? That was a good
I
combo. I'm happy. I'm
I
happy
I
that
absolutely loved that last episode. I loved it. I had a fantastic time.
I'm really
Fantastic
happy.
time.
I'm really happy that we're basically expanding the conversation to have other, mixed race demographics around the globe who are engaged in this discussion. It's very humbling and motivating for me to see South African coloreds interested in the content, to see Pardos in Brazil. People are taking a lot of interest in this, and it's very humbling for me. I'm so happy to see people around the world who are engaged, and we feel a sense of kind of connection, that we look at our plight as being connected with those others and people from other countries. It's a beautiful thing. I like it.
That's the next move for me, and I stated that when I was on the panel previously. That's what I've been trying to do. Is I've been trying to talk to people who are outside of the U.S. who are mixed race, whether biracial, multiracial, MGM, what have you. And because that's the next step, is the international connections. And so talking to Elroy, I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. And I'm looking forward to your interview. It's one of the things I wanted to bring up is your interview with the lady who is doing Partitude in the blog in Brazil. I'm looking forward to that interview and seeing that because I've heard about her. I have heard. I mean, I think her blog is a big deal, pretty big deal, I think, there in Brazil, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she has
Yeah.
a massive following. Yeah,
Mhm.
she has a lot of supporters. Yep.
Yeah. So I have heard of her, and I've heard of that blog. So when I heard that you were interviewing her, I was really interested. I'm really interested in that. Oh, also the video that you did about that museum in Brazil, I thought it was a good video. I thought that was a good video, and yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I liked the last episode. I really did. I think that was one of the better episodes. I
Yeah.
think I like the interview stuff that you're doing. Like the guy that you interviewed about the MGM, I know him from a mixed race group. So I really like those interviews. So
I'm gonna bring him
um
back. I'm gonna bring him back on. You're talking about Timothy. I'm gonna bring him back on Sunday. We're gonna talk again. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's in our circles. He's in our circles. He's well respected amongst everybody in our circles, and yeah, he's from the Caribbean. Timothy, yeah, he's the author of the MGM book, and yeah, he'll be back on Sunday. So I always
oh
enjoy
that,
talking to him.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll try to see it if I can. I'm quite sure when it's gonna be on, but because I gotta go prep Sunday, gotta be watching a bunch of football. But yeah, I know him from the mixed race groups that I'm on social media. And yeah, he seems, I can only go by what I've seen there. He just seems like a very easy guy to get along with. Pretty pleasant. And I guess the interviews pretty much confirmed this, that you did thus far with him. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, I think what's important is with YouTube is doing those kind of interviews with people and getting different perspectives, whether it's the MGM perspective, whether it's like maybe not a biracial perspective, but subsequent generations afterwards, those perspectives. And of course, international perspectives. That's really important. Now, as to the question that this live is asking, I've said this on a panel some time ago. I don't know, it was a couple of years ago, but I said, in terms of mulattoes or the biracial, black, white, biracial, you have to have an infrastructure like you do with other ethnic and racial groups. So you've got to have the community organizations, you have to have the community groups, and you have to have the special institutions that deal directly with biracial, multiracial, mixed race people. And that's how you advocate, right? So it has to be an organizational group community aspect, because that's the way it is with any other community. If you look at other ethnic and racial communities, it's the same thing. And that's the way that you're going to have to do that. I mean, that's how it works. Whether it's the US or anywhere else, that's the way that it works. Now, it's interesting. Now, in regards to South Africa, what I'm aware of is the more political aspects, which is National Color Congress. I think that used to be, I don't know if it still is Cape Town Color Congress, but the National Color Congress. So I'm aware of the political party. I'm not as well versed in terms of community organizations for the mixed race populations in South Africa. So that's something that I'd be interested in finding out more about. Like, what's the groups there? What are the organizations there? What are the support mechanisms? Because I hear that the National Color Congress is filling a need for people in South Africa. It's filling a community need, support need. So it's a support network of sorts. So that's what I've heard. And I've seen some interviews, like I've seen a couple of interviews elsewhere. After the panel, I went and took a look at some interviews about the so-called colored in South Africa. And I think that National Color Congress, from what I'm hearing, I've heard some pretty good stuff about it. Now, again, I've only heard some interviews and some aspects of it. But I've heard, that it's filling a need in South Africa amongst those populations and other populations too, but those populations especially. So I'm interested in the community organism, or should I say community organizations, but that's an organism socially, I guess. Community organizations and groups and institutions about mixed race people, whether it's South Africa, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Cape Verde, because Cape Verde, which is an island off of Africa, has a mixed race population, or even Dominican Republic. When you hear about Dominican Republic, for example, I know you've been there. Most people talk about Dominican Republic in regards to Black people there being in denial, but the Dominican Republic is a largely mixed race place. It's a largely mixed race population. And Black
Exactly.
people actually there are actually a smaller
Yes.
minority. They're a very small part of it.
It's the same
So-
in Brazil. In Brazil, the Black population is small. They try to, because what they're doing is they're one dropping the mulattoes and mixed people. They're one dropping the mulattoes and mixed people who have African descent in saying that they're just Black. They're using the North American United States one drop rule metric to claim hegemony over these other demographics when it's not true. Dominican Republic is primarily a mestizo nation and a lot of mulattoes there. Blacks are a minority there. Same thing in Brazil. Brazil is a majority of a Pardo mixed nation. They have a lot of whites as well. Blacks are a minority in Brazil. I was just there. I flew back a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I've been to these nations this year. I can tell you firsthand knowledge in the cities and areas, the more populated areas that I visited. Yeah, these are not Black countries. Okay, I've been to a Black country in Ghana, and I know the difference. Yeah.
Well, okay, you've been to the Dominican Republic. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And so that's the odd thing to me has been this whole thing that I see online sometimes about Dominican people being in denial about being Black. Like,
Well, they're not even Black; they're mixed. So, like,
that's what
how
I'm
are they in
saying.
denial?
It makes no sense.
Afrocentrics in America, they're trying to shame them, to humble them, to try to claim. They have the whole phrase, quote unquote, "me no Black." That's African Americans trying to shame Dominican people. They say that, oh, me no Black. It's a stupid joke that only Blacks in America laugh at. Where it's like, well, Dominicans are not even Black. They're mixed people. They're mestizo, European and indigenous for the most part. And you do have a lot of mulattoes there.
Right.
Even Black people, quote unquote, Black people there, I saw a lot of them had like admixture. They didn't look fully Black. They looked like they had some like ancestry from Spain or somewhere else. Like they didn't have the same facial symmetry as like someone from Africa. So yeah, don't let the Afrocentrics in America are trying to lie and distort reality to try to trick people to pretend like they're like in the same group. They want to try to develop this false coalition with Latinos to try to say, oh, well, you got some African ancestry, you just like us, like this whole democratic kind of. I know you're a Democrat, but I criticize all the Trump and all these dummy MAGA people, but I'm saying is like you have a lot of tendencies within primarily you'll say like the left side of politics where they'll try to like fabricate this kind of Black and brown coalition where they'll try to basically gaslight Latinos or even mixed people into saying, well, you got some African ancestry, so you're a person of color, you're just like me. It's like these are different groups of people, and like people, the fact that they're not respecting people's autonomy is a big problem, and that's why you have a lot of like pushback. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the thing. Well, first of all, I'm not a Democrat technically, but I have friends that are Democrats. So from a political perspective, like that's the group. I'm kind of like Bernie Sanders in the sense that I guess technically I'd be independent, but you have to caucus with Democrats. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm in a state where, it's a blue state. So I have friends that are Democrats. And
Well,
so
what
I know
about
how to
Tulsi?
deal with Democrats.
What's your thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard? It's kind of off subject, but she's kind of a weirdo. She flipped.
Oh yeah, the thing about it is this. With Tulsi, I was interviewed on a show, I don't know how long ago. It was when she was running for president. And I was telling people, Tulsi is a right winger. And those of us who are in Hawaii, who are aware of Tulsi, know this. Tulsi's a liar. She was somebody who ran as a Democrat because there's no way she'd get elected in Hawaii if she was Republican. They don't elect Republicans here. They reflect Democrats only. And she tried to make like she was a progressive. She's not. Right? You know, with what's going on in Syria, the overthrow of Assad, she went to Syria and met with Assad. Right? So she's somebody who's a grandstander. She's always looking out for number one. I mean, I understand that in regards to politicians. I've met enough politicians to understand that Tulsi is a BS artist. She always has been. She's a right winger who is lied and pretended to be a progressive. I mean, you know, that's why she was supporting Bernie Sanders. I didn't buy it. I never trusted her. And my friends who were political activists couldn't stand her because when she was on the city council, she voted for like a anti-homeless bill, basically. And they are partly advocates for the homeless at times, because I have activist friends that help feed the homeless on Sundays, and so yeah, they can. I have friends of mine that can't stand Tulsi Gabbard, and I have never liked her. She's a right winger. That's all she is. That's why she endorsed Trump. That's why she had white supremacists who supported her, who thought she was good, like David Duke and others that were praising her when she ran for president. You know, I'm not even going to get into that cult that she's in. I'm not even going to, because I knew a reporter that did an article about it. Somebody.
She just
I'm not even
seems.
going to get into that.
I just wanted to ask a question. She just seems kind of like a weirdo. Tulsi Gabbard,
Yeah.
flip
Oh,
flopper, can't really be trusted. Look at this
Yeah.
comment we got here. It says, interesting fact: in Grenadian Creole, they call mulattoes mong mongs. The term also means stupid and foolish. See how deep-rooted anti-mulatto racism can be in black majority countries. Sure. The thing is, with mulattoes, have to understand, in majority white countries like the United States or say the UK or these other nations, like there's this similar sentiments though as well. I'm trying to get people to understand, don't try to fall for this kind of like binary polarity where it's the black or the blacks hate you more than the whites hate you more. Well, you need your own independence as a group, as mulattoes. Like, don't try to pretend like you have some type of, security and comfort in this side or that side. Create your own damn lane. Like, I'm trying to tell people, like, we need to have a balanced approach, but we have to understand all these groups, whether they're Anglo, Bantu, or Mestizo or Asian, whatever, like, we have to do business and do trade, but there has to be a reciprocal relationship. If there's a benefit, like, it makes no sense to be underneath these groups and serve these groups. We're not in that day and age anymore. We're going into 2025. Mulattoes are already here in the United States of America. I see these mulattoes everywhere. They just need a voice. They need their voice amplified. They need a purpose, a destiny, a reason. They need people who will advocate and stick up for them. We do not currently have that. We do not see representation on a massive scale. You do have people who do represent. I like Sage Steele. I don't agree with her politics. I think she's kind of basically a grifter. I'll say that publicly. But I do like the fact that Sage Steele represents being a biracial woman. I really respect that about her. So I will promote her. But we need more people in media, in prominent society, who will acknowledge that and do that. If they don't even use the term mulatto, because a lot of them are scaredy cats, they'll just say they're mixed or multiracial or biracial. Okay, I can kind of, deal with that. But we need more people who are mulatto of that configuration who are advocating for our own voice. And it's inevitable. It's going to happen anyways. But someone like me, I'm going to promote it a lot more with my little social media thing. Al, do you want to add some final thoughts? Because I am going to close
Yeah.
this out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That was an interesting point. And again, the point I've always made is, I mean, my background, my view has always been a plague on both houses. That's the way I see it. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but maybe it's because I grew up in a more multiracial place, but trying to be one or the other doesn't work. when people try to be monoracial, I understand maybe they want a community and they want what they feel will work for them, but I can't see it happening. So again, I what I stress is the past when it comes to mulattoes in this country. You've got to look to the past. As E. Franklin Frazier noted in the book Black Bourgeoisie, when you had the mulattoes, they had basically their own organizations, their own groups. They formed their French literary societies and were into French and British music. They were, if not in some places like Charleston, South Carolina, New Orleans, Louisiana, separate communities. They certainly were separate people. If you look at the mixed race Creoles, they're a very tight, cohesive people. I mean, they had their own patois. I'm not even going to cite religion and all those other factors. They even spoke their own kind of language or their own dialect, basically. So, I mean, that is gotta be the effort. You gotta get back to community, and then from infrastructure onward, you're not gonna do it as part of a Black community. You're not gonna do it as part of a white community, because even though you might find some sympathetic people on both sides, there are always going to be people who tell you that you're not one of them. And this is what I've tried over the years to tell biracial people.
And I love the fact that you do that. I love the fact that you tell them. It's so
it's
important.
hard. It frustrates me. I mean, I'm a
They
little
will tell
frustrated
them
because they're going to get hurt. I hate
they get
seeing
hurt.
I
They
hate
get hurt.
seeing
You
them.
let them know, like they get told, they get the reminder, the wake up call that they're
Yeah.
not one of them. Like there's a song now this year by Kendrick Lamar. He has a
Oh,
song called "Not Like Us," and it's a dog whistle to Black America to basically G-check and tell this biracial man from Canada, not evil Roy Slade, the creeper. It's for Drake,
Oh yeah, I
the
remember
rapper
that
Drake.
guy.
They have a
Yeah,
song. They have a
I had
song
forgotten
called.
about him.
They have a song called "Not Like Us," and it's they're trying to say that biracial people, the males specifically, the biracial men, they're not like us dark-skinned Black men from the hood. That's the whole premise with that song. Like, and it's a giant amplified wake-up call. I feel like a lot of biracial people, I feel like this year they're kind of figuring it out. Going into next year, they realize but
I
go
hope
ahead and
so.
continue with what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Not like us. I don't even think I've heard the song, and I don't want to. I have nothing but contempt for Kendrick Lamar.
Well, it's an anti-biracial song. That's what
Yeah,
people don't,
I don't want to. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I just don't. And I want nothing. I can't stand that guy. But again, the emphasis to me is like, I don't know. I'm so used to being my own guy. I'm like, I don't see any other way. I'm sorry. Maybe people don't see it the way I do. I'm like, man, you're not going to be happy trying to be for the mulattoes. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be miserable at some point. Even if you like being monoracial, you're going to be miserable at some point. It's not working. So that's why I said, when you talk about advocating for the mulatto, got to get back to consolidation. You got to get back to community. You got to get back to organizing structures and providing infrastructure that will be beneficial to mixed race people. Mixed race people have to see themselves as a people, like the colored in South Africa, like a number of Pardus in Brazil, like Métis in Canada, like the maybe mixed race people in Cape Verde. I'm not quite sure about that because I haven't looked into that as much. And I hope maybe in Dominican Republic. I'm not quite sure about that as
The
much.
nationality I can say with the Dominican Republic, the nationality is very strong. So they definitely have a very strong sense of nationalism and national identity. So a lot of Dominican mulattoes will basically just say, they're Dominican, right? which is very honorable. I love the fact that they have just a strong pride in nationality. It's very good. And I think
Well, it makes sense for them
a lot of
because
Americans, yeah.
go ahead, Charlie.
Now, I was going to say a lot of Americans have a very strong sense of nationality as well when we compare ourselves to the rest of the world, but there's still kind of an underlying kind of tribal, thing going on, innate tribal thing with, and that's kind of the racial question that's not comfortable for a lot of people to address. But go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting with the Dominican Republic. I don't know as much because I know it's a largely mixed race place, but I don't know just how people see themselves as mixed race people in the Dominican Republic. So again, another aspect that I mentioned is the international dimension and dealing with people from other countries, mixed race people, and their experiences. So now I find that I'm more interested in. I'm not less interested in mixed race people here in America, but I'm less interested because I've talked to enough of them over the years that I have a sense of what it's like to be mixed race in various permutations and aspects. But I'm more interested now in these other countries and mixed race people across the globe,
Oh, me
even
too.
in Europe, even in Europe,
Me
even
too.
in other parts of Africa.
It's exciting. And I love it, man. I love the fact that in real time, I can connect with people around the world and talk about being mixed. Like, it's a blessing. I love I love to be alive in this time, in this day and age, this era where I can jump on a plane and travel and talk to mixed people
Right.
around the planet, and we could talk like, and provide this type of material for people to learn and grow from. It's a beautiful thing. Like, I'm very happy and thankful for the
So that's
position I'm
what
in.
right. And so that's what's important right now. It's the international aspects. You see it in politics with various ideological groups. And here we have to do what those groups have done, and that is have an internationalism in regards to mixed race people. That we're biracial or multiracial or MGM, but we share that mixed ancestry, or the fact we're a mixed ancestry with people in South Africa, people in Brazil, people in Cape Verde, people in Dominican Republic, people in other countries.
And a similar plight as far as recognition and representation as well. Being a person, right? Because people want to break us into parts and wholes, that you're half and
Mhm.
half, this, that. I like the word mulatto because I feel like it basically ties us, it makes us whole and one. That's why mulatto is very unique for me and specific, and I love it. But that's the whole thing, is like, we need the representation and recognition
Mm.
in
We
society. And
don't
I feel
have
like
it.
that's
We don't have it.
with this international dialogue, I feel like we're really making a lot of good we're doing a lot of good with connecting people with around the world, because then people, like, we're just expanding our audience, our voice is getting louder, more amplified, and people are watching what we're doing, we're watching what they're doing. It's only going to grow from here, so I'm going to close this out now,
All right.
Al. And I appreciate you hopping on the panel. Stay
Yeah.
tuned,
Thanks for
because
having me.
on Sunday, stay tuned, because on Sunday I'm going to bring Timothy back up, and I know you like his conversation and dialogue, and I will possibly drop the link. So if you want to jump on the panel, we can all kind of chop it up again. It'll be
All right.
earlier during the day as well. It's just a late night
Okay.
creep right now, but yeah, I'll catch you next time, Al. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everything. I'll
Yep, you're welcome.
try to see if I can do it on Sunday. It depends on my schedule. But
For
thanks a
sure.
lot.
Yep, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Bye.
Yep. Bye. Cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been another great edition, another good live stream. You guys like the content, hit the like button. If you guys, really, really like the content, share the material. You guys know somebody, a mixed race person, mulatto, whatever, anybody, even if they're not even mixed, if they're monoracial, whatever, you feel like they'll find some value in the content, in my commentary, share the live stream with them. Share the live stream. Okay, this is how we're going to grow this thing. Share, 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 hit the like button. And also, you guys can see my email on the screen. Email me if you have any questions, concerns, feedback, or even critiques. I don't get that much haters. It's funny, like with the emails, I don't get any haters. I don't get any hate mail in my emails. I don't want it, but I'm just saying I don't get it. I usually get people with dumb comments. They put comments on my videos, mainly over on TikTok. I get a lot of dumb comments. It's easy. I just block people, get out of here. But if you guys are like honest, genuine, whatever, you want to run some material by me or you message me, I'm here. I do my best to respond to my emails in my messages. Find me on Instagram, even Facebook. So yeah, appreciate you guys being here and talk to you guys very soon next time. Adios.